Hi class, today we'll be looking at a new chapter. We're going to be looking at chapter 22 and we're going to be working with budgets. So today I'd like to go over with you problem 22-1B. All right, you should be seeing Cengage now, and we're going to be doing problem 21-1B. And we're going to be the Sentinel Systems Incorporated, and we're going to be preparing a sales budget, and also we're going to be forecasting some sales volume to go into this sales budget. The sales budget is the first budget that you're going to create when you're working with budgets in a company. And usually the budget's pretty simple, and you just multiply the number of sales units that you expect to sell times the selling price. But in this case, they've given us a sales budget that was previously prepared for Sentinel Systems, and it was for the year ended 2008. You can see that we are selling home alert systems and business alert systems, and we're selling them to the United States, Europe, and Asia. And this was our sales budget that we had prepared earlier. And then they told us at the end of December that they actually had some unit sales that were as follows. And they also told us for the year ending December 2000 Y9, the unit sales are expected to follow patterns established during the year during December 31st, 2008. The unit selling price for the home alert system is expected to increase to $250, and the unit sales price is expected for the business alert system is expected to decrease to $820. But that'll be for the year 2009, and we're not quite there yet. That's just some additional information that they gave you. What they wanted you to do is to compute the increase or decrease of actual unit sales during the year 2008 over what they had budgeted. So this is something that management would use after the year had ended to see how well their budget had performed or how the budget did during the period of time that was measured. So we're going to start with the home alert system, and we're going to start with the budgeted amount that we came up with before this period started. So the home alert systems are here. The United States had 1,700 that they were expecting to sell. So I'm going to put the budgeted amounts in first. And because I just think it's easier just to look at the budget amounts, I'm just going to go ahead and fill in all the budgeted amounts for these systems. So for Europe, it was 580. And for Asia, it was 450. And for the business alert systems, we're picking up the budgeted amounts, which was 980 for the United States. And 350 for Europe. And 240 for Asia. And then they wanted us to fill in this column, the actual sales. So you got to move to the actual sales figures, which were right here. For the home alert system, we're going to start with that first. 1734 for the United States. For Europe, is 609. And for Asia, it was 432. And for the business alert system for the United States, it was 1,078, 329, and 252. And it's probably a good idea to make sure that we typed everything in right or keyed everything in right. And I did. So the next thing they want you to do is to find the amount of the increase or decrease that happened during this period of time. So the budgeted amount for the United States home alert systems was 1,700, but we had actual sales of 1,734. So we had an increase of 34 units. And again, it might be a good idea just to do everything straight down as we were doing before. And if you need a calculator, it's here. And we're going to take the budgeted amount, which is 580. Your actual sales was more, so that's good. The difference between these amounts is the amount of the increase. So 580 or 609 was the actual sales. 609 minus the budgeted sales of 580 would tell us how much we increased. We increased by 29 units. And then for Asia, we actually had a decrease. Our actual sales was less than our budgeted sales. So our budgeted sales was 450 minus what we actually sold, 432, means you had a decrease of 18 units. You have to put decreases in as minuses in this problem. So make sure you put a minus in front of anything that would decrease. For the business alert systems, we had an increase over our budgeted amount. Our actual sales was 1,078, and our budgeted amount was 980. So the difference between these is 98 units. And then for Europe, we had a decrease. We didn't sell as much as we had budgeted for. So 350 minus 329 is 21, and it was a decrease of 21. So I'm going to put a minus sign in here in front of this one. And we're going to look at the next one. And this was an increase by 12 units. And so again, it's a good idea to check your work, make sure your math was right. And we're okay to proceed. Now what they want here is the percentage of increase. And the way you find that is you take the amount of the increase or the decrease and you divide it by your budgeted amount. So I'm going to start with $34, which was an increase amount. And I'm going to hit my divide key, and I'm going to divide this by my budgeted amount of 1,700. So the percent of increase is 2%. You'd move your decimal 2 places to the right, so that makes that 2%. And then we're going to do the same thing for Europe. We're going to take the 29 unit increase, and you're going to divide that by the budgeted amount, which was 580. This is 5%. And for Asia, Got to remember it's a negative here. 18 divided by the budgeted amount, 450, gives you a percentage decrease of 4%. You got to put that in as a minus to that. Since this amount was a negative, this should be a decrease too. Moving on down, it's 98 divided by 980. It's 10%. And 21 divided by 350. 6%. And again, this went down, so it's a decrease. And 12 divided by 240 is, okay, it didn't look quite right to me, so let me try that again. 12 divided by 240 is 5%. And then we're going to check our work. And we're okay here. Now in the next part of this, part 2, it says, assuming that the increase or decrease in actual sales to budget indicated in part 1 is to continue in 2009, compute the unit sales volume to be used for preparing the sales budget for the year ended December 31st, 2009. So we're going to take what happened as far as actual units. These are actual units here. We're just going to plug those in here. So I'm going to start with 1734 and just bring it down. For Europe, it was 609. This is actual sales. And then for Asia, it was 432. I'm just bringing these amounts down. And 1,078, 329, and 252. And again, just a good idea to check your work and make sure you don't have anything wrong there. You didn't write anything down wrong. And then we got to take the percentage increase or decrease, and that's what we got right here. And we're just going to plug it in here too. So this was a positive 2%, positive 5%, a negative 4%, positive 10%, a negative 60%, and a positive 5%. And again, just check your work, just make sure you typed everything in right. And now we've got to find the budgeted units. Now what they're asking you for is to multiply this times the percent of increase. If the increase was positive, just add 100% to that and multiply it by this, and it'll give you the amount of units that you need. So you can eliminate a step by doing that. So 1734 times, now watch what I do here. I'm going to put 1.02 because this was a 2% increase. I'm adding it to 100%. And when I multiply that out, it gives me the number of units. And that way I won't have to subtract the percent of, or add the percent of increase to the actual units. It eliminates the step here. So I hope I didn't confuse you on that. I'm trying to make it a little bit easier for you. And they told you to round up to the nearest unit. So this would be 1769. Or 1,769 units. is what we would budget for the next year. The actual units times the percent of increase, which was 5%. Remember, you got to add 100 to that. So it's 1.05%. 609 was your actual units. And then I'm going to multiply that. And again, watch here, it's 1.05%. And that'll give you 671 units. If this had been more than 5, we would have rounded it up here. $432. Now notice this one is a negative amount. So I've got to subtract from 100% the 4%. So I'm going to multiply this by 96%, 0.96, excuse me. Gotta get that in there right. And that will give you 415 units rounded. Now this was a percent increase. So we're going to take this and multiply it by 110%. Oops. And this is a negative amount. So remember, you got to subtract from 100%. So that would leave you with 94%. So 329 times 94%. Oops. 0.94 gives you 309 units. And then this was a positive amount, so it's 1.05 that we're multiplying by 252. $265 units. And I would check my work because you got to have this right to be able to go forward. And obviously I made a mistake here, so let me go back here and try this again. All right. We're going to start with 609 units, and we're going to multiply it by 1.05. $630. Let's round that to 640 and see if that'll work. Didn't like that, so let's leave it at 639 then. Let's see if that'll work. I didn't like the way I rounded it. Okay, so that's better there. All right, so it was 639 because this 4 was not a 5. They didn't round it up like I would have done. And most likely you might have done that too. So just be careful with that. It's a Cengage thing. It's got to have everything just right. All right, and then this one, let's recalculate it. It's 1,078 times 1.10. This would be 1,186 units. Okay. So you have to know what the budgeted units are going to be for 2000 Y9 before you can move on and prepare the sales budget for the next year. This is an actual sales budget. This is what you're going to be doing in this chapter, is preparing budgets. And the sales budget is based on the sales volume that you think is going to happen during that budgeted time period times the unit selling price. So the unit sales volume is going to come from what we expected it to increase to from part 2. So I'm just going to copy the figures in here at 1769. For Europe, it was 639. And for Asia, it was 415. And we're going to do the same thing for the business alert systems. You had 1186. $309 for Europe. And again, that's coming from here. And 265 would go next. And then you got a choice here. You can add up the totals. So there's 1769 plus 639 plus 415 is 2,823. And then for the next group of units, 1,186 plus 309 plus 265 is 1,760. It's a good idea when you get through with this column to check your work. And we want to put in the unit selling price. Now this was for 2000 Y9, and that was in that additional information that they gave you here. The home alert system is expected to increase to $250. So the unit selling price for the home alert systems is $250. And then we want the unit selling price for the business alert systems. And the business alert system is expected to decrease to $820. $820. Once you know what the unit selling price is, then you multiply by the unit sales volume, and that'll give you the total sales dollar amount that should go on the budget. So 1769 would be multiplied by 250. $639 times 250. 159,750. And then 415 would be multiplied by $250 each. Just 103,750. And I'm going to come back to the total in just a minute. Keep going. It's the same thing. 1186 times 820 this time. And 309 times 820. $253,380. And 265 times 820. It's 217. 300. And it's a good idea to check your work before we try to add up the totals. And then we will find the total for the product of the home alert systems. So we're going to add these three together first. It's 442,250 plus 159,750 plus 103,750 equals 705,750 and then 972 520 plus 253 380 plus 217 300 equals 144,000, or excuse me, 1,443,200. And I'm going to check my work just to make sure my math is right. And then I'm going to add this and this together. I'm going to check my work one last time, and that's the correct answer. So they're teaching you how to build a sales budget based on what happened with last year's budget and the actual sales. And you found a percent of increase or decrease, and then you multiplied it by the actual number of units to get your budgeted units, which would feed into the budget that you're preparing here, times the selling price. That would give you the total sales in dollars. We always start with the sales budget first. The next time that we meet, we're going to be preparing more budgets. There are a lot of budgets in this chapter. And so I'll talk to you about those next time we meet. So I'm going to stop sharing this with you, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.